Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and in frame you see with me Mohanji. And Mohan, of course, is the name of Lord Krishna. But here, the gentleman sitting with me has also seen different colors in his life and different roles that he has played over a period of the last few decades. Being in the corporate world for 22 years and then awakening of some sort due to something which made him go deep within, and the kind of clarity which he came out with, he's spreading across the globe, touched many countries in many states of India. We'll go towards the statistical part, but let me go towards the soulful part and something which makes everyone feel at ease in his presence. I also have been fortunate to have interacted with him earlier, and learning that he is in New York was a source of additional joy, and I'm extremely happy, delighted, and it's a great pleasure to be sitting with Mohanji. Mohanji, namaste. Swagat hai.
Namaste. Thank you so much for having me here.
So we begin on your being spontaneous, and you have been referred to as non-conformist. I want to begin by understanding the word non-conformist. What is it that you take out of it? Being a rebel is something else. Being a non-conformist.
Being a rebel is something which we are against. Means to be a rebel, you got to be against something. Non-conformism is not using the mind for something. When we conform to something, we are definitely using the mind. When mind is not used, the result is spontaneity. So when a person is spontaneous, he is a non-conformist. Conformist is that a structure made by mind, and we are asked to follow that structure. That's not practical many times because we are original. So this whole idea about being a non-conformist, in other words, is being natural. Some of the most non-conformist people in the world are small children. Very spontaneous, very natural. They just live their life as they are. So when you, even as an adult, when you try to become something, you are not natural. But when you are just flowing with life as you are, that's natural. Again, we have to live in the society. We have set norms in the society. We have to follow all these things. There's no problem with it. But at the same time, you can be original. We have the right to be original. So that's the non-conformism.
So while we hear you have a right to be original and being spontaneous and not following a predetermined structure of mind, probably, and you hear it and you see it being applied in his life, but it feels like there is something missing, and you feel like it's not practical, because whenever you're planning to do something, you're planning to accomplish. And let's take the example of the Festival of Consciousness, which you had in Belgrade with music and art forms, celebration of life. Even organizing a festival of that kind, where you are celebrating life, there is certain amount of planning that is required. So if you are spontaneous, you are natural, how that would come about in such a beautiful and organized fashion?
That's the power of conviction. When you really, really know what you need, and when we are confident about that matter, then the kind of strength that comes from within, zero doubt, full confidence, full conviction, that moves mountains. We all have that strength. But usually the reason for failures are, number one, lack of vision. Even if you have a vision, if you do not have conviction of the vision, we cannot find success. Many people, they have a vision, they want to achieve something in life, but at the same time, they are not really confident whether this will be successful. Then the whole thing becomes weak. For me, I never had that problem. Whatever we see today in my life, in my world, is the product of last 10 years. So I look at it this way. I do have a vision, but I do not have a vision written on stone. Means the nature of my vision the spine of the vision is flexibility. The skeleton, the structure of vision is flexibility. So there is a lot of flexibility. At the same time, there is a definite roadmap. So if I believe in it, It's not believe, I am sure about it. So whatever we do with conviction, and also that it's 100% selfless. That gives strength. The
So,
more,
so there is a problem. There is a problem here. I think I was trying to figure out where is the key to your power of conviction. So this selflessness, I think, is difficult for many of us. We have a little bit of selfish motive, or at least if I want to achieve something for me, my family, that also relates to a little bit of selfishness. But how to have that key from you in terms of some of our viewers who want to succeed? And till the time you were talking about power of conviction, I was thinking of asking you how one works on developing that if it is not there, because you are aware and I am aware, and I would not hide, I am also experiencing or have experienced that there are some dreams, some visions, and then you find that you didn't succeed in accomplishing it. So what is it that can help not just me but anybody listening to you to figure out that power of conviction? And if I may add from your first book, which is Power of Purity, and the power of purity and selflessness, are they something that go hand in hand?
it is related. But coming to selflessness, when we detach from the animal kingdom, human beings, we have a completely definite, specific kingdom, the human kingdom. The detachment is from the selfishness part to the awareness part. But many of us are not living that life. We have absorbed the selfishness part. I need it all for myself. I need to keep it. I need to capture, conquer, succeed in certain ways materially, etc. These are all illusions which we have maintained. Everything is available. And if we are very confident in what we do, all the things available, all the things has to happen to us. Everything will come. Like for example, you get a particular position in the company. All the perks will come without your asking. Similarly, we have that power in us which can create that effect in our life. But we don't trust it. That's why we have to hold it. We are so insecure about ourselves that we don't know whether we'll have it tomorrow. So we are trying to hold it, and then something else takes it away. Then we have depression, we have problems. So freedom and selflessness is our very nature. That's exactly the sign of a human being. Being a human means being selfless, being compassionate, being kind, being non-violent. That's a real sign of human beings. But we don't express it because we have possessiveness, ownership, me and mine. That's all connected to the instinctual part, which is connected to survival. But we have sufficient to survive because we are such a grand creation where we have everything in that. Yes. Now, as you said, the purity part. Purity in thought, word, action starts with intention. Purity of intention. When my intention is pure with you and I have no expectation, I'm very powerful. So this power we can experience individually. And when we expect so many things from people, then we have compromised already. There is a contamination associated. So purity in thoughts, words, action has to begin with purity of intention. And then whatever comes is pure. And that gives you tremendous strength and power. I'm a walking example. I have never looked at anybody in terms of money, whether they are rich or poor. So the whole the flow of life is taking things through. Whatever is happening is spontaneous. And do I have an agenda? I have no agenda. As it grows or it flows, it's flowing. So it's not contradictory. We can afford to be selfless at the same time powerful. And then you will get much more than what you actually imagine you can get.
So that's why you wrote a song, Reimagine.
Yeah.
And let me segue here, and from the spiritual luminary Mohanji, let me go towards his artistic side. You have written a couple of books, and Power of Purity I mentioned, and after that there's a book called Must the Ecstatic.
Ecstatic.
I like that title so much that I would request you to share what made you give that title and what have you conveyed in this book.
That's the state of an avadhuta, an accomplished master, internally ecstatic, drunk with God, completely drunk with God. So that's a state of an avadhuta, a person with extreme bliss, and it's not connected to anything outside. We only know our association with outside and the pleasures connected to it. We only think in those lines. So whenever we talk about pleasures, it has something to do with something outside. But here, you need nothing from outside, but you are still happy, ecstatic, not just happy, ecstasy. So that's a state of mast. Mast is the Urdu word, is the ecstatic. So that state, there are people like that. So this particular book is, usually we talk about four ashrama, four stages, right? Brahmacharya, the time when you learn the skills. Grihastha, the time when you execute your skills for the money, for family, for making a living. Then comes Vanaprastha, where you are learning to detach. Learning detachment from all that you earned. You know that you can't take it any further. You had experiences from it, and now you have to go further. So that stage where you are learning detachment. Then sannyasa, we're completely connected to consciousness and living into consciousness. That means liberation, moksha. So this four stages, as a saint or an avatuda or a yogi, how a yogi will live. Because he has no intention to get married and settle down, the usual family structure, the education, job, marriage, house, children, not that process at all. So he was very clear that I want to learn from this particular master. He did not go to any other guru. And even they said that's a very tough master and very difficult to get into his good books. But he said, no problem. So that level of clarity right from the childhood. From the age of 8, he joined the guru. Then he continued through the life. At the same time, he did not avoid any of his responsibilities to the family, etc. And also the social culture of the time, where they respected a yogi in the house. You know, now today they are considered as escapists. So here, actually, that's not the truth. When a master of that class comes to the house and the entire lineage gets fulfilled. Many generations before and many generations after, they become accomplished, or at least they are much more into the path of liberation. So this is something which I wrote that as an eye opener of true spirituality. You know, where you need nothing from the world and you are giving everything to the world.
Giving everything to the world and you need nothing from the world. So where that everything comes from, if I look for the answer, probably part of it is shared by you in the book, The Silence of Shiva.
Yeah, that's the second part of power purity.
And you also had a special experience of being in tune to Shiva. And would you mind recollecting that moment? Probably something happened which is beyond logical explanation.
Yes, that was late 2000s, 2006-7 time. That particular day I remember I was not feeling well, or I thought I was not feeling well. So I was in the ashram of a Swami, and there was some program going on, and I had no interest in that program. But I sat with the Swami and we were talking, and then suddenly I told him, see, I need to go because I was feeling like vomiting. I thought I'm not feeling well. So the Swami said, okay, let's walk a little bit. So we both started walking, and then he was showing me a house which they have made for guests. So I just remember entering the house. Suddenly, I don't exist. Means I lost consciousness of the physical form. And then I don't remember how much time I spent, but all that I hear was a shout from the Swami, come with the camera, Shiva is here. So that thing is what I remember first. But then it was very difficult for me to open the eyes. What I personally experienced was huge expansion, where body didn't even matter. My physical form did not matter at all. I was expanded as brightness. I get, and even brightness, I'm feeling bright in comparison, because I was seeing many things inside me which are like a sun or moon, or I can't say, I'm much more brighter than all this. And these are like small lamps inside. So my size was huge, and I was completely in a state of bliss and disconnected from any small aspects of our existence, such as body, and expanded. And then there was some ash coming from the head, etc. That was the second time, actually. Before that also it happened, but before that this expansion didn't happen. There was a kind of dizziness and stuff, but this time it was totally expanded. And then I remember this call, and then people are the flashlights. So I was feeling terrible actually. And then slowly I started coming into the body, and for some time I couldn't breathe. It was like I was breathless. Breathless means the breath had stopped, or I felt so. It's not easy to tell what I felt at that time. All I remember was I am sitting on a chair, and the Swami was there, and a lot of people were around me, and photos, etc. And I just got up and walked away. I didn't want to be with anybody. And it took a few days for me to actually start feeling the body. Even when I touched the body, I wasn't really feeling it. I know I have a body, but I lost interest in the world outside for some time. Then again back to business and back to job, and usual things started.
So at that time, I think you were working.
I was working
with shipping industry.
Correct.
Based in Dubai, and if I may, for the sake of those who feel the same as I, there's a sense of wonder, there's a sense of awe, there's a sense of trying to think, is there any pattern which leads to this state? From that point of view, was there something that you were observing prior to this moment?
Well, if one thing I can say, intense craving for something which I did not know about. I had no clue what I was looking for. I can be very honest. I had no clue what I was looking for, but every day between 3 and 8, I used to meditate. I used to be the country head of a company. So the job was high density, high velocity job, very busy. But at the same time, between 3 a.m. and 8 a.m., nobody will disturb you, because that's my time, my personal time. I never sold that time. That time I was looking forward for every day. It was a real intense craving for something which I have not really captured or signed up with. And then it took about 6 or 7 years for me to settle down in that space where the first feeling I got was there are noises in the outside world, but they are far away, as if I am inside a bubble. That was during the meditations. Meditations was very simple. I used to connect to my spine, feel my spine, erect spine, and watch the lamp across. And no pictures, nothing. Because any material you keep around you, they always occupy your attention. Even if it is a picture of a deity or whom you love, or parents or children, anything, they occupy your attention. So you got to be completely detached from any possibility of mind getting stuck. So it was just a lamp, just a flame. And every day that flame moves or something, it doesn't matter. It is a closed house, closed room, nothing moves, still flame. My eyes were there, but my awareness was in my spine. This was my practice. That went on, and then various things happened during that time. I could feel expansion. Sometimes I don't know the size of my body, and when I walk through a door, sometimes I hit the door or the wall, because I can't really know where is my actual body. Those states were there. Many states happened. That's all. Like the question you asked, what is Shiva for you? I found that Shiva is stillness. It's the yogi aspect of Shiva which we know, which we have pictures, etc. But more than all that, he represents the stillness where there is nothing moves, nothing flies there, absolutely still. That state you can never explain. You can never explain that, because internally you feel a lot of movement, but various things happening, but you are completely unaffected. So this was continuing even when I'm driving the car, when I was sitting in the office. I used to be completely unaffected. Things were happening, I will be doing a lot of work, but at the same time I'm very still. So this stillness went on for a long time, and I decided that I will never be in public. My idea was, I will do my job, I'll work, salary was good, everything was good. So I'll do my job, and after that I will do my practices, or I will be in isolation. And my dream was to make a cave, because all the caves known are occupied by people. And I wanted a cave which is completely isolated and nobody comes there. So I was thinking that eventually with some money I'll make a cave and I will be meditating there for a long time. But then it so happened that I had communions with masters, and they said, you got to deliver. You got to go out and talk. And it was completely unacceptable to me. When they said that you have to go out and speak, it was complete violation. See, for example, it took a lot of time for me to find silence, stillness. Now I have to go back and talk, go back to the world of noises. It is like suicide, that kind of a feeling, like a death for me. But then I was explained, you cannot use this earth only for your gratification. You got to pay back in your way. So that's the same system of Kumbh Mela. Adi Shankara told all the masters to come down and spread what they have earned to the people. So I had to come up. So this is a yoga for me. So then the public life started.
So now another question that I would request you to address for us is you brought the reference of masters and communion with masters, and were you initiated into that, or it just happened that maybe in your meditation you got indication of being in tune to masters? And when you say masters, how would you help us understand?
Yeah. First of all, it's spontaneous. The communion is simply connected to the frequency we have arrived at. Imagine we have arrived at a particular frequency. Only in that frequency masters will speak to you. And if you even, we may not understand which frequency we have arrived at, because we can't, there's no measure to it. We can't measure it. And we always feel, oh, I'm not up there as yet. But what you are connected to is a sign where you have reached. So it's like a milestone. Oh, we reached this, oh, now I'm so close to New York. So that we understand. But we can never know that we are close to New York without this. So my first communion was a complete surprise thing. This is the time when I was practicing very seriously. But I never used to tell people what I used to practice. I used to go to Himalayas often. But whenever I got back to Middle East, I used to practice. And one day I got an email. Those days, this was Yahoo time, before the Google, Gmail started. And I got a mail saying that one elevated master, astral master, wants to speak to you. I ignored it completely, because people contact you saying that you won a lottery, those kind of things. You can never trust such mails which you are not sure about. Yes. So I deleted it. Again, next week, I got the message saying that this master wants to speak to you, we're serious. So I replied, how much money? Because everything is about money.
Yeah.
So I said, how much money? So the reply came, we are not asking for money. There is a master who wants to speak to you. There's something to tell you. So I thought, okay, what is the loss? See, I'm sitting in Dubai. This is from America. So I said, it's okay. Then I called up on a Sunday. And the first question, this was an old woman. The sound was 80 plus woman. She asked, do you have sufficient credit in your phone? I said, yeah, I was the general manager of a company. I said, I can pay later, so I can speak. It may take some time. And I said, no problem. And then she started speaking to me in her voice. And slowly, her voice changed to a very deep male voice. This is not possible. It's not somebody else talking. Her voice, she was talking, and while she was talking, it changed. I was really surprised. And this person told everything about my life, even my closest friends don't know. That detail. That is to prove that they know what they are talking about. Then I asked one question. So why did my daughter die? So she said, you have a bigger role to do in the world. You will be very successful in business. You will have sufficient money. This is all fine. But you have a larger role to perform in the world. If you just go with your current path, you will not reach there. You will not do it, because there's no need to do it. But so this hard slap on the face tilted you to a different dimension where you have no choice. That's why. Then I asked a few questions, and then finally it was almost an hour. So then he asked, is there something you want from me? So I said, I would like to continue to communicate with masters of your realm. I don't know which realm it is, but your realm. So he said, I'll arrange that. After that, all these communions started. So first of all, we don't know which masters they are. Only thing is that whenever we have such communion, all you have to see is that whether that information is valid in this time. Can I use it or not use it? So if you can use it, use it. What they refuse to say who they are, because that's not important.
So sorry to interrupt here, but the further communication with masters, Was it also on phone or it was just
No,
conscious?
it was then only one time this phone happened, but because probably I was too skeptical at that time, so this had to happen. One other incident I can tell you that I used to, I was general manager of a company I was working. I used to have blank states, state where I don't know who I am. You know, I don't know my name, I don't know my signature. That phases used to last, and it was very frustrating for me because I have checks to sign, I have things to do, but I can't really correlate myself. There was a disorientation. So at that time, one day I decided I cannot work anymore, and I was typing my resignation. That time in the in the computer, this is before the WhatsApp time, before Facebook. So this chat used to be there, MSN chat.
Yes,
etc.
yes, yes.
So this MSN chat opened up, and my yoga teacher of 6 years ago, he came online. He said, "Mohan, are you there?" I said, "Yes. How are you doing? It's been so many years, you know." Then he said, "No, I want to tell you something. This blank state will end in this month. It will end in this month." How do he know? He has no clue about what. I mean, we are not even in touch for last 6 years, and I actually saved that communication. Then he said, his guru, who's not in the body, came and told him to tell me that this blank state will end in this month. So I asked him, who's his guru? So he said,
Yeah.
this guru left the body long time ago. So he studied under a guru who's in Himalayas. So this exactly like he said it happened. So simply what I understood is that when an information has to come to you, it will come. All you need is that frequency connection and openness. Most of the time we don't get the information because we are looking for somebody else to speak, or it should come from this mouth, or it should come from another source. That never works. In the true path of spirituality, all you have to see is whether that information suits you. It doesn't matter where it comes from. That is why Dattatreya had 24 gurus. Dattatreya's each guru was valid. Nature was his guru. So we have to be completely open, completely receptive, and what comes to you is transformative. So my whole life was like that. Various teachers, then of course Shirdi Sai Baba came in my life, and that was a big turning point. Likewise, Babaji had two comedians, which was a big turning point. So all of them put together molded me. If Mohanji is sitting here today, it's because of all these people.
So once again, I thank him for being so generous in sharing such innermost experiences in such a friendly way with openness, which is, if I say, hallmark of Mohanji.